Matt Monarch from the raw food world put out an alert today warning that he was censored by YouTube. They shut off his live stream, and they said they're going to shut off his account if he keeps talking about the things that he talks about, which of course is raw foods and supplements and so on. I think what triggered it was he dared to talk about CBD oil, cannabinoids from cannabis, natural medicine that's been around since the founding of our nation, no longer tolerated by YouTube, you see. So I reached out to Matt and I invited him to have a channel on Real.video, which I think he will do. He seemed very open to it. Real.video, of course, is the YouTube alternative. It's launching July 4th. It's kind of like YouTube, but without the censorship. I mean, Real.video, it promotes natural medicine. You could talk about cannabis extracts all day. You could talk about hemp. You could talk about natural medicine. You can talk about firearms. You can talk about politics. Lots of things. You just can't be dangerous to society. And I'll define that on the website, by the way. We'll have a policy on there that you can read. If you're dangerous to society, then you're not going to be allowed to be on that platform. But it's going to be a very vast array of free speech. Now, getting back to Matt Monarch and Raw Food World, I've known Matt for many years, going way back. He and I were practically neighbors in Ecuador for some time, by the way. And Matt saw this coming as well, like other people in the natural health space see it coming. I know David Wolf sees this coming as well, where YouTube and Google and Facebook are going to shut down everything that isn't pharmaceutical medicine. And you see, this is my message to people on the left. Like, I know we have a lot of audience members who are on the left, are kind of progressive, because we cover a lot of topics that are pro-environment and pro-nutrition and pro-natural health and so on, anti-GMO, which tends to be topics promoted by, more progressives and so on. But a lot of leftists out there had been in favor of banning the speech of people who were, let's say, Trump supporters. And a lot of leftists were like, oh, Trump is evil. You should ban those websites. Or a speech about firearms, for example. I'm a Second Amendment supporter, and I've taken heat over the years. People say, oh, we should shut you down because you're talking about guns. Yeah, I'm talking about guns for self-defense, by the way. That's beside the point. When they go after your free speech on these topics, you got to realize, folks, all of you on the left, you got to realize sooner or later they're coming for you too. When you support authoritarianism, and when you contradict the liberties that are laid out in the Bill of Rights, when you don't stand up for the free speech of people with whom you disagree, then eventually, sooner or later, they come for your free speech too. And this is what's happening right now. Matt Monarch, not a conservative, I don't believe, no. I mean, I don't think he's a Trump supporter. I don't know. I haven't heard him say anything about Trump. I don't know. Maybe he's anti-Trump. I honestly, I don't know. But he's not known to be a political guy. He's not known to be a gun supporter, for example, right? That's not Matt Monarch. That's not Raw Food World. He's a natural health guy. He's a raw foods guy. He's a nutrition guy. He's a permaculture guy, grow your own food kind of guy, which is what I admire about him, by the way. And yet they're coming for his free speech too, because he dares to talk about cannabis. He dares to talk about CBD oil. And you see, this is my point. All of you out there who there's some people out there who don't like my stance on let's say, pro-Second Amendment. But it's important to protect the free speech of people with whom you disagree, or eventually, like I said, they come for you. They're going to crack down on natural medicine. It has already begun. They're cracking down on CBD oil. They're cracking down on cannabis extracts, even in states where it's perfectly legal. Did you know Google conspires with the drug companies? They do not allow Canadian pharmacies to advertise pharma drugs in the U.S. because they're 10 times cheaper, or even pharmacies in Mexico and so on, because Big Pharma has a lock on Google. Google is running a protection racket for Big Pharma. And this crackdown on Matt Monarch is part of it. You see, Google has to crack down on any truthful videos and content and articles about cannabis, CBD oil, cannabinoids, the healing therapeutic effects of this type of natural medicine. Google is trying to memory hole all that information and shut it down. And they're trying to get people like Matt Monarch to self-censor so they themselves don't talk about cannabis. Why? Why is this happening? Because Big Pharma wants to monopolize all medical treatments, and they know that cannabis makes about 50 drugs obsolete. Yeah, I mean, all the anti-seizure drugs, and cannabis has so many incredible benefits to human health. So many, I can't even get into the full list here, but we're talking about, this is one of the most potent natural medicines that just grows in the wild that has ever been discovered on our planet. It grows everywhere naturally, and this is why it's being criminalized by governments, for so many decades, generations even, and this is why even now Google is cracking down on anyone who dares speak the truth about cannabis. So you see, they're coming for natural medicine next. And those of you who are leftists, who are progressives, and maybe you hate Trump, and maybe you hate guns, and maybe you hate, I don't know, what else would you hate? Oil companies, let's say. You got to ask yourself, if you have supported a climate of censorship of people that you hate, you have created a monster that's going to come back and bite you in the ass. Because sooner or later, they're going to find something they hate about you too. There's that famous poem, from the Nazi era. I forgot who wrote it. I think it was a priest. He says, first they came for the Unionists, and I forgot how it goes, but I wasn't a Unionist and I didn't speak up. And then they came for the laborers, and then they came for whatever. And at the end of the poem, he says, and when they came for me, there was no one left to speak for me. See, that's the point. They're going to find something wrong with you and your belief system because you are anti-pharma, aren't you? You are anti-Monsanto, probably. You are anti-Nestle, DuPont, Syngenta, Bayer, Eli Lilly, Koch brothers. You go against the big, powerful corporations, probably. That's the one thing almost all my listeners have in common, whether they're Democrats or Republicans or Libertarians. They all recognize the danger of these big, powerful corporations that are dominating our world. And Google and YouTube are the enforcers. And Facebook, Twitter, and so on. They're enforcing this to exterminate independent thought. They're attacking your ability to think, and especially your ability to think about anything that threatens the monopolies of the corporate establishment. That's why Matt Monarch was silenced, because he dared to talk about cannabis oil extracted from common weeds that grow in forests and fields and backyards all across America, even without trying. They grow like weeds. Why do you think it's called weed? So this is why it's important for you to stand up for free speech. And one of the best ways to do that is to exercise it yourself. And this is why I'm reaching out to people like Matt Monarch and others. I need to reach out to David Wolf and Len Foley and other people out there and say, look, have a channel on Real.video. You can talk about cannabis. You can talk about natural medicine. You can talk about all these things. And other people can talk about firearms. And they can talk about why they love Trump, if they want. And they can talk about permaculture and homeschooling and organics, right? They can talk about all these things. They can talk about Bitcoin, because freedom of speech is under attack right now. And we need these new platforms. And I'm building one that gives people the ability to think for themselves. That is Real.video. And so I bet you're going to see a channel from Matt Monarch on there, and David Wolf and many, many other people. I mean, tens of thousands of other channels on there. We're launching July 4th. You can request a channel yourself for free. Just go to Real.video right now, request your channel. And we'll start activating channels in mid to late June, by the way, for people to upload content. And then by early July, we're going to be live. You'll be able to see, we'll probably be out of the gate with 100,000 videos, maybe just within a few days. And then within a couple of months, there'll be millions of videos that you can choose from. I mean, it's huge. It's a serious alternative to YouTube. And I see my role in it, by the way, in case you're curious, as not shaping the speech, but just providing a platform. There are limits to free speech. For example, we can't have pro-terrorism videos. We can't have videos of people promoting dangerous things like genocidal governments, for example, or disarming the public. We can't. That's dangerous because that always leads to genocide. So there are limits, things that are dangerous for society we can't have on there, or someone like KKK people saying go kill black people. Obviously that's not allowed. So there are limits, but the limits are very few and very narrow. Most of what we have there is just wide open free speech. So check it out at real.video. My name is Mike Adams. I thank you for your support. And you can read my main website if you want at naturalnews.com. Take care.
Learn more at healthrangerreport.com.
Thank you for watching. If you want to support our mission, visit us at healthrangerstore.com for the world's largest selection of lab-verified superfood and nutritional products for healthy living. It's at healthrangerstore.com.